7 years ago, I started my small business with more passion than experience, and I learned a lot the hard way. So here are 7 lessons from 7 years in business. But to back up, first things first, I'm Allie Kirkpatrick. I own Old Town Books in Alexandria, Virginia, which is a small independent bookstore. I've been open since 2018. I started out as a little tiny 500 square foot pop-up. I was self-funded. I spent about $7,000 on a logo, a website, and a down payment for this cute little space. And over the years, I slowly grew it by reinvesting in the business. And now we do about $2.5 million a year in sales from 2 bookstores, Old Town Books and our kids' bookstore, Old Town Books Junior. We do a lot of author events, book clubs, and all sorts of fun community programming. So it's been a wild ride these last 7 years, and I thought I would just take this time to kind of reflect on 7 lessons that I've learned throughout this whole journey. The first lesson, one that I'm still learning, is to hear people out and listen to advice, but don't necessarily follow it. When you start a small business, everybody and their brother is gonna have a little bit of advice for you. They're gonna tell you what they think your logo should look like. They're gonna tell you if they think your business is a good idea or a bad idea. They're gonna tell you what they think about your location. They're gonna tell you so much, and it's gonna be hard to let it all roll off if it's critical or negative. And it's also gonna be difficult to sort of sort out who's giving you valuable information and who's giving you sort of uninformed information. So my first lesson is to just be open-minded and be gracious and to hear everybody out. You know, it's twofold. You don't wanna take bad advice, but you also never know where some really great advice is gonna come from. You might be surprised. So my first piece of advice for myself in my first year of business is about starting in the first place. When I decided to open a bookstore, so many people told me it was a bad idea, don't do it. My family members didn't want me to do it. Needless to say, I did not follow their advice. I ended up opening the business on my own. I bootstrapped the first couple of months. I got a month-to-month lease. I started with like 0 inventory and slowly built the inventory up. So I think, you know, the first lesson really is about listening. It's about listening to yourself. It's about listening to all the advice out there and cherry picking what works for you, being open, but also, learning to let things roll off your back. And I'm still learning how to do that. I'm still trying not to be too jaded and trying to listen to people who are well-intentioned or who have good ideas, while at the same time being careful not to just follow advice from anybody. The second lesson is about cash management. It's something that I learned about the hard way. So when I first opened my business, I was so busy doing everything. I had no employees. I was just doing it all by myself. And as long as money was coming in, I wasn't really worried about it. We were really busy. Everything's really great. We're super busy. And I didn't keep an eye on cash flow. So when it was time to pay taxes, I owed taxes, but I didn't have that cash in the account because I had spent it on like marketing or like more inventory. And cash management was a lesson I learned my first year in business. Thankfully, I learned it early enough that it didn't jeopardize the business, but I learned how to manage money in a way that worked for me, which was by having separate accounts for different expenses so that I could just quickly check my bank balance and know I have an account for taxes, I have an account for inventory, I have an account for profit. And that I all learned from Profit First, which is a great book for small business owners. Basically the envelope system, but with bank accounts for small businesses. And I really needed something that simple and clear to get myself off the ground and to make sure I wasn't spending all of my money on my business and making sure that I set money aside for things that I needed, like taxes and paying myself. Also with cash management, just don't be afraid of finances in general. That's something I would not suggest outsourcing. I think everybody needs to know about finances. You need to know your P&L. You need to know your break-even analysis. You need to know what your payroll is. You need to know all of these different things about finances that, I don't know, my first couple years, it was a little rocky and I was still figuring it all out, and I kind of outsourced it to a bookkeeper at first and didn't want to think about it. But now I've learned, no, that's like you should not outsource that. That's so important for a small business owner, is to know finances and to know how to manage cash. Which brings me to my third lesson, which is you should pay yourself. I did not pay myself for the first couple years of my business. Instead, I sort of saw it as like investing sweat equity, but really all I was doing was burning myself out. And making myself feel terrible because I was working so hard and not paying myself. So my lesson that I learned the hard way is you need to build in your own salary to your bottom line. And again, the cash management helped me do that. I would take out my own pay before I saw if I had enough money left over for other expenses, like fun things, like marketing things like that. So I think having it be non-negotiable that you pay yourself is really important, because at the end of the day, you're the most important person in your business, you're the owner. You need to be functioning and thriving in order for your business to thrive. The fourth lesson, which is also related to paying yourself, is finding good people. You can't do everything, no matter how much you want to. If the goal is to grow your small business, you're going to need a team. And I learned that surprise the hard way also. As my business grew, I kind of tried to hold on to a lot of little pieces. Like I really loved book buying. Like I didn't want to let anybody else do the book buying because that was sort of like the creative part of the business, the fun part of the business. Now, 7 years later, thank God, I have 2 amazing book buyers. I love them, and they do it way better than I ever could. So finding the right people and trusting them and letting go of certain tasks is going to help your business grow. I think hiring earlier would have helped my business grow faster, honestly. The other thing about finding your people is a lesson I've learned is to hire for attitude. You can train so much. There's so much you can train. You can't train being positive, you know, just like being chill or being optimistic or being a problem solver. Like really hire for people with a good attitude. Like if their intention and their attitude is positive and they want to learn and they want to grow, you can teach them anything. I love everybody we work with. It's like the best vibes in our team. And I think that's because we've learned as we've grown that fit is really the most important thing for a team culture. And that's something I learned the hard way. Like sometimes I hired people who were super qualified, who had a ton of experience, but weren't necessarily the most positive people to work with, who were maybe critical or maybe negative or, you know, only saw negative things. And so I'm really glad that I've learned to hire for attitude. Lesson 5 is to have a vision for your business and to rework it every year. So one thing that was really helpful for my small business was visioning exercises and having a vision board, having a vision for where my business was going, having a vision for what I wanted my personal life to look like. And that is something that I picked up from a workshop that I did at Zingerman's. It was a training, it was actually a training about training, but there was a whole section about visioning. I ended up taking another workshop with them on visioning. And I've just found that it really helps you with your direction of like where you want to go. It's like, it's not a business plan. It's different from a business plan. It's like an emotional, you know, written down vision of what you want for your business. And for me, that's been really wonderful. It's really helped me figure out a lot of things. And it's been really powerful to look at past visions and to see, wow, we've actually done that. We've actually implemented things from our vision. And it's great to share that with the team. It's a little different. It's not a mission. So a vision is not a mission of your business. It's truly a visual sketch of how you want to embody your business, your life. And for me, it's really helped give me direction. It's helped me stay focused and it's helped me stay positive. There's this quote that I have been thinking about lately as it pertains to small business life. Don't judge progress by what arises. So don't judge progress by what arises. I'll have to find out who said it. I can't remember who said it, but I really liked that because a lot of things come up in a small business, a lot of emotional things. There's lots of challenges, there's lots of things that get in your way and can kind of stir up some negative feelings, and you can start to feel down on yourself and say, oh, I'm having a bad day. Don't have your progress be measured by that bad day. Measure your progress by your vision, by your direction, and that's a lesson I'm still learning, but that has been really important to me. Lesson number 6. This is a favorite lesson of mine. Whew, I'm still learning this lesson every single day, let me tell you. Stop explaining. Stop explaining. Don't explain yourself. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to explain yourself. Just be who you are. You don't have to explain it. Let the work speak for itself. End of story. I wish it was end of story. It's not, because I still try to I find myself trying to validate my own work, validate myself, or prove myself to other people by over-explaining what I do, what its value is. Stop. Just, there will be people who don't get what you do. You don't need to explain to them your value or your importance or how your business works or what your sales numbers are or any of that. Save that energy for building something new, or save that energy for the people who already believe in you. So I'm still learning that lesson myself. Let your work speak for itself. That's the lesson that I've learned, that I'm still learning. It's so hard. I just want to I want everybody to get it. I want everybody to value bookstores, to value reading. It's not to say that I don't want to convince other people or reach new people. It's more of to say, stop explaining to people who are never gonna care or value what you do anyway. So yeah, focus on the people who do. Focus on serving people who support you and who understand your work and who get it. The last lesson is to keep showing up. Consistency is your friend in small business, and I've just learned that it's so easy to get distracted by new projects. When you're an entrepreneur, it's in our blood. We get excited about new things, new projects, new businesses. I am still learning to be consistent and to double down on what works and to focus on improving your SOPs, focus on improving your cash management, focus on improving your training. Really try to be consistent with the business you have before you branch out to something new. I am starting a new business this year, Fabled Ice Cream. I did start a new business last year, Old Town Books Jr., but I'm trying to do it in a way that is consistent with my values, my goals, and trying to do it in a way that is not a distraction, but rather builds on what I already have going. So that's the last lesson, lesson number 7. Keep showing up, keep being consistent. It's taken me 7 years, but over those 7 years, I have grown my business to be a successful, thriving local business, and I truly believe that you can do the same with yours. So as an outro, I will say I'm still learning all of these lessons. I'm still putting them into practice. I hope if you have any questions or comments, or you want to hear me chat about any other small business things, that you will leave a comment, or as always, visit us on oldtownbooks.com or follow us on social media. We're at Old Town Books on Instagram and TikTok. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.